I'm Diane Prince, your entrepreneurial secret weapon. I have started, scaled, and sold companies for the last 25 years. And one of my businesses I scaled to $1 million weeks in just 6 years with my co-founders and sold it to a public company. I help entrepreneurs with content and coaching and consulting to help you to make your entrepreneurial path easier. Today, I'm going to talk about stress in your entrepreneurial path. I was on a Clubhouse room yesterday with Amy from Mood Connect, and the topic was stress, CEOs and stress. And what I like to do, my favorite way of dealing with stress, even though, I mean, you typically would think of like meditation or exercise, which I totally believe in, especially exercise. I need my cardio. I'm obsessed with Peloton. I'm one of those. Leaderboard named the Diane Prince, in case you're on Peloton. But what is extremely important, though, is preventing. What really helps me is to prevent stressful situations as much as I can. Okay, so that doesn't mean that I go around trying to fix everybody else's problems or everybody else's stress. What it means is that it is my responsibility as a founder to tell my team what my expectations are of them, and also to give feedback in a way that is helpful. So I need to, a lot of times, look, we all bring our issues to our businesses. Everybody does. We do as founders and entrepreneurs, our teams do. We can't help it. Everybody has issues, right? And it's how we deal with them. It's how we know ourselves and how we deal and work through behaviors that might be uncomfortable for us, but that are for the greater good of the company. Let me talk a little bit more specifically. So sometimes people I work with, sometimes it comes out that they're people pleasers. And what generally happens there is that they'll accept unacceptable behavior from somebody on their team. So they're the boss, they own the company, and they have someone on their team who's just not stepping up, or they might be late to meetings, they might not show up to meetings, maybe they're not even really producing, or they're difficult to talk to, and whatever it is, a lot of times founders will avoid having conversations with them. And look, the people on your team, the way that your team works is what is making your business a reality. That's how you're creating your vision. So one person on this Clubhouse room that I did yesterday, I think I mentioned it, but I was on a Clubhouse room talking about stress and entrepreneurship with Amy from Mood Connect, and somebody brought up how she mentioned how she's dealing with her own, not only her own stress, but she's managing the stress of her team. And that is not possible. If you are trying to manage the stress, anyone else's stress but yours, that is going to escalate your stress exponentially, because you cannot manage somebody else's stress. What you can do is share your expectations. And if you're an entrepreneur and you're not clear with your team, that is going to cause them stress. If they don't know what your expectations are of them, they are going to be stressed. If you're sharing this is so common of entrepreneurs, like we've got so many ideas and we're sharing ideas, and I know I can be guilty of this too, and we're kind of spewing things out at our team, and they don't know, it's just a brain dump, and we're not clear on what we need them to do and what we expect from them, then they're gonna be stressed, right? And so it's important to set our expectations with the team. Everybody on the team needs to have a mission, so they know what how their role is contributing to the business and what the mission is of their role. And by the way, if you need more help on this, I have a group program on this topic. And also I do free speed coaching. So you can go to dianeprince.co and participate in either of those things. And speed coaching happens one to many times a week. And you'll get, if you click on my website, you can submit a question even in advance, or you can just sign up and come to the next speed coaching. So back to stress and entrepreneurship and being direct. It's really important to not avoid stressful conversations and to give clear feedback in a way that is, you can remove emotions from your feedback, right? Like, so you might be annoyed at something that someone from your team did. They didn't do it exactly the way that you wanted them to do, or, maybe it is really, maybe they are behaving in a way that's not good for your culture, whatever it is. You need to address it quickly, and you need to address it and tell them what it, and you can give them a chance to improve, but they're not going to have a chance to improve if you're not direct and you don't tell them. And a lot of times that is what causes our stress. And instead of speaking with them, we'll end up stewing or complaining to our significant others, our families, our friends, whoever will listen to us about this annoying person. But really, that person doesn't know what your expectations are, and you have not given them their direct feedback. Now, if you have, that's a whole other thing. We do talk about that in my program. We work through that, but you need to first figure out, is it you? Are you speaking clearly and directly? And once you're able to have that skill, and it is practice, once you're able to have that skill and give direct feedback, something magical happens and you're able to sleep at night. You're not going to lose sleep over things that your employees did or that your team members did, or even co-founder, because you know that you've kept your part. You've kept your side of the street clean and done your communication. So to recap, stress and being a CEO is there's going to be stress, but knowing that there's always things that are going to happen. There's always going to be a team member who does something that you didn't want them to do. There's always going to be issues. There's always going to be, when we bring people in, there's always issues. But if you are looking at yourself first and looking at if you are directly communicating, and then the next step of that too is letting go, because once you've communicated and once you've set your expectations, consequences are another thing. And that's something that I work on with my clients too. And what are those consequences? So that's a whole other topic. Communicating directly and then letting it go, because you know that you have done your part. And if you are, by the way, accepting unacceptable behavior. One person I was talking to was actually an accelerator. This is a founder, and the accelerator was there's a toxic person in this accelerator, and they're like, well, what do I do? How do I deal with this? Well, you're always got to look at if the ticket. So the ticket in this case, the price of the ticket is dealing with a toxic person, and is that worth the payout? And if the payout is, if it's an investment, if it's whatever it is, the benefit that you're getting from this accelerator, you always have to look at that. If you decide, if things can't be changed because the person's not going to change their behavior, and you stay in this particular accelerator or situation or whatever it is, this could be if you have a team member too or an employee. If you're staying in the situation, if you've already tried to correct the situation and you're staying in the situation, one way to alleviate that stress is know that you're making this decision to stay there because it's worth to you today, and it doesn't have to be forever, but today it's worth the price of the ticket. So then when that person, say this is this person who makes really rude comments from this accelerator, and they make a comment to you, try this tool. Okay, so say the person's name is John, and you get a nasty email. Okay, so instead of reacting And it might sting at first to think to yourself, oh, John's sending a nasty email, because that's what John does. And so recognizing, okay, it's sort of like if you're getting upset with a dog because they bark. I mean, dog barking can be annoying, but they bark. Dogs bark. People come to the door, whatever. Usually, often dogs bark. And getting upset with somebody in a situation that keeps on perpetually happening, if you're staying in the situation, is getting upset with something that you can't control. So being able to accept those situations as and I mean, you can even make a game out of it. One therapist I worked with made a bingo out of it for like, oh, there's so and so mansplaining again, or whatever it is. You make a checklist, and or there's Jennifer being passive aggressive again. Okay, checklist. But being able to you can acknowledge it and say, okay, I'm still in this situation because I'm still working with this person because this is what they bring, and this is not something they're going to change. And by keeping in this situation, I'm accepting it and not getting mad because they're not who I want them to be, because they are actually who they are. So those are some tips on alleviating stress. And I have a group program about how to hire the right people, fire the wrong ones, and manage your team to get what you want out of your business. I also do free speed coaching. So go to my website, dianeprince.co, and get your free speed coaching. And you can also contact me to see how you can get involved as a partner in helping to get the word out about the programs and the things that I do to help people on their entrepreneurial path.